What's going on, everybody? Kayak Adventure Series Susky 5 Slama-Jama in the books, Jake. Man, what a week, dude. What a
Yeah,
week.
something like that.
Yeah. Oh, man, a lot to recap, a lot to talk about, a lot of cool stories, a lot of fun was had, a lot of fellowship. Oh, man, it was wild. We couldn't get to it all on stage. We had to do a very quick, abbreviated sort of awards. We had the Native Power Hour teaming up with us, so couldn't get into everything. Couldn't get into all of our contingencies and bonuses, which we'll post
Yeah,
those on social media. You have the winners of all those, whether it's the Naqua Power bonus, which that was Christine. We know that because she was in second. Cross kicks, top new canoe angler. What else we have? Omnia Pro. I think Christine actually won that one too.
yeah, she
Um,
did, I believe.
and we had like one other one, Toyota bonus bucks. Somebody probably won.
I guess Christine,
I don't think Christine, I don't think qualifies for bonus bucks.
because
Yeah,
she
if
does.
they work with
Yeah, that
Toyota,
makes
you
sense.
don't qualify. So anyone out there who thinks they didn't win the bonus bucks from Toyota, not true. You could have. So anyway, fun weekend for sure. And you and I just want to get on here. We want to kind of do this recap kind of quick because there's a lot of stuff going on out there. I've been so busy. I drove home on Sunday, slept in as long as I could, and drove home on yesterday. Obviously, got home and there's a leak right here, actually by me in the basement, from our fridge upstairs, soaking the floor, dropped out. Dude, all of our Choli Palooza shirts are ruined. Pretty much all of them. I'll bring them to some event and try to sell them for, maybe we can get them in a washing machine and save them. But they were all in there with those tie dye shirts. They all got jacked up. So,
I don't even have one of those, man.
well, no, you were wearing one, I thought. A Choli Palooza
No.
shirt.
Oh, well, I don't have a tie-dye one. I wanted
The
a
tie
tie-dye
dye.
one.
Well, we've got them here. Trust me. They'll be okay. Probably put them in the washer. But the ones that are tie dye bled on the ones that were the plain color. See what I'm saying? It fell on all the
Well, now
KS
they're all
merch, all
tie-dye.
this stuff. Yeah, now they're all tie dye. So anyway, it's been a whirlwind because I've been trying to get those who haven't been paid yet. We usually hand out checks right on stage, which we did, but we only had like 8 checks left. Apparently, our checks books were lower than we realized, so we PayPal everyone. We're starting to PayPal people today. My daughter had a preschool visit with their school. Just had a lot of family dad stuff going on. So everything's still loaded up my truck in the driveway. Nothing's even unloaded, unpacked. It's chaos. But we wanted to get on here and recap it because there's a lot of, we just want to set the record straight on a bunch of things, and of course celebrate our winners first and foremost. And people can hear it from the mouth of those who were there, kind of what happened, and just stay positive. And it frustrates me how negativity tends to get more attention on the internet than positive stuff. And that's a shame because Josh Brewer should be the story. Christine Fisher and Ewing Minor, they should be the story more than anything. But and I haven't had a chance to really look, but definitely people are sending me messages and all that stuff. So we'll get into all that. But I figured you and I could why don't we just tell our week, like tell our story kind of, or that starting at tournament day, kind of what you and I did and how all this came about. And then just kind of do it like that. Just tell it in story mode.
Yeah, well, turns out that if you go to Susky, you will inevitably have car problems. That's
That's
the
right.
main story.
That is true. I had a transmission from Valvoline. It was filled 3.5 quarts too full, so it smoked on the way there. And you followed me. Thank goodness I made it. And Toyota over there at Williamsport helped me out and got it fixed and all that good stuff. So that happened, and you had a nail in your tire. And I said it on stage. We had so many people with just trailer tire issues, truck issues. Russ's transmission. Guillermo lost his phone. Another angler, I can't remember who it was, lost his phone. Brandon Palmer, he gets a hook in his hand, has to go to urgent care and get it out. There was like all kinds of like craziness. But when you have that many anglers, that many events going on, it's just bound to happen. The odds just get greater. Not to mention the disqualifications. Obviously, the more people you have, the more likely something like that could potentially happen. So anyway, we'll get into all that. But what a fun event, man. Overall, I don't ever want anything to overshadow just how great an event this was for kayak fishing family and community to all come together as one to celebrate fun fellowship. We had, we probably have photos you could maybe pull up. We're not really prepped to pull up a bunch of media, but we had a ton of people at that Bash U brunch. Opening ceremonies first. We probably had, close to 100 people throughout the night come to the opening ceremonies and check in at Brewski's. It was a ton of fun, great fellowship. And of course, they hung out well into the night because you can't fish on Friday. It's illegal in Kayak Adventure Series. Pre-fish begins at 6. So we had a blast there, food and drinks, fellowship. And we slept in, had brunch, breakfast at 9:30 the next morning at Brewski's downstairs in a little speakeasy room. Christine Fisher, Gene Jensen just spilled some juice with some seminars, and about 50 people showed up to that. That was awesome. And then of course went into tournament. So let's get to it. So tournament happens. So what do you and I do during the tournament? Let's explain. We outsource our judging, right? So we don't even know. We don't have waypoints. We'll get into this later. Someone said this is like a waypoint grab, which is hilarious because we don't go to venues. This is the first time we've ever been to any venue, any national trail we'll ever go to. So anyway, quite the long game we played, Jake, and a lot of work and time and money and hours to
anyway. Yeah, I definitely don't think the 30,000 miles on my truck was worth
the last couple of years
is worth some waypoints.
Time and money invested to the waypoints at some fishery that we've always done well at anyway. And I've fished the whole thing all before this event. And anyway, we'll get into that later. But this is so what we do, we outsource our judging, and I call Steve Owens in case Bassmaster does come here in the future. Let him know what we're doing, that we outsource our judging. Happy to sign anything he needs me to sign, fill out any form, take a polygraph, whatever he wants me to do. I'm happy to do it. Same way I share my location with Mark Cisneros, the camera guy for Bassmaster, so he knows where I'm at events. The same way, I just feel like there's an extra burden of proof on us. When I say us, like anglers who do fish, further away and remote and wild places. You know what I mean? So I always do that kind of stuff. And always film with GoPro, of course, powered by Aqua. Always film with GoPro. It will protect your character and anyone who questions anything when you have cast to catch. That's it. What is anyone going to say? So that's why we incentivize it in this series. And it's going to get more heavily incentivized next year. And even to the point where we will continue to have even a lower payout for the winner if they didn't hit if they weren't filmed with GoPro or whatever, that they didn't hit some sort of, we'll figure this out in the winter, like bonus. It's like, it just spreads money deeper into the field. It's still going to be a huge payout, obviously. But it's not like if you were supposed to win, 7,500 like Josh Brewer did, it might drop it down, $1,000. Still gonna be a big payout, $6,500. And of course, if we hit GoPro guarantees, it'll be more than that. But if you don't, it just kind of pulls all that down to the top 15%. Everyone else wins. So you're kind of hoping the winner didn't film. You know what I mean? Like next year, especially, you're going to be hoping like they didn't film, and it really keeps, everything honest on the up and up, and more eyes out there, eyeballs. So you and I, what do? We go around. We don't know where anyone is. Obviously, we're going up and down the river. Tell them the story about your tire and where we picked up my truck from the Toyota dealership so I could start driving around because they couldn't do the work till Monday. But you brought it over there to get a tire fixed at a place nearby.
So
I
woke up at 6 a.m. Drew doesn't get up that early. He's not a 6 a.m. guy. But on Friday, 6 a.m., I got up. I made us all coffee. And then, we got ready we went all the way to Bloomsburg, which I say all the way. We were technically staying there, but it was still 22 minutes because we were in the boonies. We do the Bass Street brunch. We do all that stuff. And then everyone goes out to fish. We drive all the way to Williamsport, which is another 50 minutes to get Drew's truck. I drive another 15 minutes to this tire place, get my tire fixed. They do it super quick. It's like a 20-minute process in and out. Get that fixed, and then I start driving south because Drew has got his truck and he's like looking for people on the river, right? It's like, all right,
for the drone,
let's get some footage. I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna start heading that way. I'm gonna stop at all these spots on the way down. So I stop at all the West Branch spots, nada, strikeout. All that time, nobody's even there. It sucked because everybody was on the main stem, I guess. Get down to the Sunbury Bridge. I stop there at the dam, and I see a ton of people there. I'm like, oh. That was a little surprising to me personally. I was like, wow, there's like, I saw like 6-7 people at the dam and they're all lined up. So I take a couple cool pictures, which I don't know if I have them on the computer yet, of them all lined up in a row. And I'm like, dang, they're all just fishing the tail races of this dam. And, I see a couple people there that I recognize, including the guy who was in the lead at the time. I was like, oh, that's cool. I'll make a mental note of that, and maybe we'll come back up later. And so I drive down the river.
Catches a lot of big fish in that river, so it's good to make a mental note of that. We're trying to get action. We're trying to get some fish on camera. If we can, photographs or drone footage, anything. capture media for you guys
Because
to
you're
promote.
obviously not going to bother them while they're on the river. I don't
Yeah,
have a drone, so I take some pictures as best I can, which I think I could probably share some of those at some point here. But
yeah, yeah.
I started driving down river to meet up with Drew, and then we do get some drone shots, but that just shows you like the path. Like it's Bloomsbury all the way down the West Branch, all the way back, all the way back,
Oh
and
yeah.
then all the way down the river. Like I've never driven as much as I drove for fishing. I wasn't even fishing.
Yeah.
Just to do this tournament. I mean, it was such a time sink
Oh
just
yeah.
to capture all this media. But I mean, we got a lot of good media.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we don't get to use all of it,
Right.
which
I
we'll talk
started down
about.
south. Yeah, I started down south because I wanted to go from south to north, just follow the whole river up, just stopping at different places, seeing who I could see, fly the drone. I'll be honest with you, the majority of the time, like the vast majority of the time, I have no idea who I'm flying over because I don't get too close. I'm just up high, getting shots of them, cool scenery. These are like establishing shots with the drone. They're like cool, big establishing. If I can see someone's catching a fish, I'm going to come in and try to get that, but it's very rare that happens. I mean, it's tough, very tough to do. So you had to stop. You stopped further up at the dam because you were like 30 minutes behind me, and I was like, I got to go all the way before lines in because I also, as a tournament director, want to, just if you can kind of like anticipate anything that might be confusing for the anglers or somewhere where someone might have a violation, you just want to kind of make sure you make a mental note and get into those areas. And one thing we had heard from some people that were concerns, you guys as anglers did a great job letting us know. You heard that some people were maybe confused about the rule for the joint events with the Native Power Hour event and the other, joint events, the local events there, that some people thought they did not have to abide by the Kayak Adventure Series boundaries and the launch boundaries in particular. And they could launch wherever they wanted downstream further than our final launch boundary. So I wanted to make sure I told you, I said, man, I can't wait for you. I got to get down there to make sure people, our anglers who are abiding by the rules, are not getting, screwed by someone who doesn't understand the rules, whether intentional, unintentional, doesn't matter. If you're going 70 miles an hour and a 55, the judge doesn't matter if you knew it was 55 or didn't know. It doesn't matter. You're going 70. So it doesn't matter if you didn't know about certain things. This will apply later, of course, in the podcast as well. But I wanted to make sure no one was just launching directly into water downstream to protect any anglers who were going to go from that final launch boundary and go downstream. And I went down there. I drove the river. I scouted. I saw them all. I flew the drone over some of them. Some were making a run down and didn't see anybody, man. All the way to the campground at Duncannon there. Never saw anybody that was in our tournament that
Yeah.
was there.
I
So
actually, on the way down to meet Drew, stopped at where Dustin was, Maha Tango
oh
Creek
yeah.
access, and I saw 5 or 6 trucks there, and I was like, all right, we got him. Finally found some people. I go out, and I'm looking, and I'm like, wait a sec. I'm not going to be able to see them from the creek. So I go out to the mouth of the creek. Nothing. They're all scattered everywhere. The Susquehanna, for
You need
all
the
its
drone.
river accesses, you almost need to be on the water to actually find people,
Yeah, you really do.
It's real easy to hide.
So then you and I say to you, hey, I'm going up the river on the east side. I'm going to keep going up, stop it. Every single, and again, a drone spot, to fly a drone isn't the same as a river access necessarily. If the road gets close and there's a little pull off, I can take it up and go shoot. And I want to make sure I find as many people to get, again, it's to promote the anglers, to promote you guys, get good content for you guys, have a cool photo one day that you can have on your wall or show your family and just get you guys in action. If you got sponsors, you can utilize that footage. We can get it to you, whatnot, and make a cool highlight reel, of the venues we're at, the fisheries. So I go up, I'm making all these stops, and eventually we have the leader, day one leader, Houseman, right? He's like 100-something inches, dude. And you're like, Drew, we got to get up the dam. We got to cover this. It's incredible. He's got 100. So we're like all pumped up, excited. I'm like, hey, I'm not just going to run straight there. You know what I mean? I'm way down here. I'm like 45 minutes away. I was like, I need to at least kind of cover everyone else, and I'll get up there at the final part of the day, right? At the very end, we'll get a cool sunset shot right there. Maybe get some interviews with some of the anglers. So that's what we did. I made my way up, filmed some folks, saw some of you guys, and having a good time out there. Beautiful weather, beautiful river, catching fish, and then got up to the dam. We got some cool drone shots there. It was awesome. I've got him catching a fish, holding it up. He's fired up. You and I are fired up again. We're like high-fiving. We're getting this great media. I have an interview with him and was second place Eddie and at the time, right? And then obviously Jody and some others. They were awesome interviews. They were pumped up. They were fired up, and that was kind of our day. We were excited about it. And then here's an interview with Jody, or
Yeah, that's
a
just the
picture of
pictures
Jody.
we took. So like we
Yeah,
actually got some really cool. It's rare to find anglers concentrated that much
yeah, it was great.
into like areas to where you can actually like get footage and interviews and talk to them, because like Bassmaster has camera boats. We're at the
Yeah,
mercy of like, are you close enough that we can find you?
yeah, right, exactly. But and this is we're not gonna like obviously everyone knows kind of the spot and what happened. So this isn't like, we normally don't really talk about, oh, this is, this spot or whatever, but this is a unique situation where we all are going to learn from this today. It's what's cool. That's our goal, is kind of learn from this. By the way, Dustin, I see your comment, over 100 anglers. Hey, between the team division and the individual, didn't you say, Jake, we had like 150 or 160 people?
163, I think.
Unique
There was a
people.
lot of people who chose to just do the team event with the native one, which is,
Right. So
I mean,
native and then
I
our
get
team
it.
event. Yeah. So
Yeah.
160 something people, plus there was a bunch of people that were in the native that weren't in our team or individual. And then there were people in those joint events,
That native
local
event
events.
is awesome. Like it
Yeah,
really is a cool
it
event.
is. They
I
were
wish I
great,
could have
man.
fished it. But
So great to work with. I know, me too. I wish I could have, but then, so I think we had over 200. We'll find out. Again, we're doing this recap a little sooner than normal, but we'll find out. We had, I think, over 200 unique individuals participate in this event. I'm almost positive of that. So anyway, there's Brian Slayton. But getting back to it, so this is kind of where things get like interesting for us. So before again, we're just telling kind of the story. This is kind of taking you guys through all rules. We have a protocol and procedures, the way we do things, right? So um, basically, before the anglers even launched at the dam, if you're in the tournament, you guys can go to your push notifications and see this. If they're still there, they probably are in your notifications on Tourney X.
yeah, they probably are.
We had some anglers that were a little confused about the rule and the law, with the dam, and it's not our responsibility to figure that out. That's your responsibility, as the rules say, as anglers. But obviously, it is my responsibility. If the anglers call me and they're trying to get some clarification, I'm going to do my best to get that for you guys as soon as possible, so you know the answers to it, and you don't break a rule or law. So I got that call, and I immediately researched the law, confirmed it. You know what I mean? What it was, 100 feet from the dam is what the Pennsylvania law says. We'll find out later when we were at that particular dam. It actually has a even more specific law and rule there. It's 100 feet from the boil. Every sign there says the boil, not the dam. So that is where, and I've got some pictures actually we could pull up and you can see those, but it doesn't matter. You guys, every sign at that dam says from the boil, which is where the white water ends. And that's what the DNR agent eventually that I got a hold of confirmed. It was from the boil at that particular dam. State law is generally 100 feet from the dam, but this one's a little different. So anyway,
Well, we should explain why that exists. So the Susquehanna is famous for having people drown in the hydraulics of these low water dams.
Mm-hmm.
There's, a couple people a year, and even the DNR agent said, there's been I think he said there's been 2.
No, like 4. It was like 4 deaths recently, he said.
Yeah. Well, what happens is when the water is higher, it becomes more dangerous. Obviously, there's more volume, but the boil becomes larger. And essentially what that is the volume coming over the dam extends. So they make it the boil because that particular dam is so large that it can sometimes get really big. And the distance from the dam becomes less and less safe, right, as more water comes over. So that's why that specific one has that rule, because it is basically the confluence is what that is. It's like both branches coming into the main stem, creating, the pressure. There's a lot of water. Anyways, that's why that one it's slightly different worded.
That makes sense. And Jeff Little's got a good video about this as well. So, and I've got some, I can actually probably pull this up real quick. Let's see if I can pull it up, man. What is it? Command Y to get that thing going up. There it is. I can probably present my screen here, but yeah, basically, go watch Jeff Little's video on that. It is very, very helpful. And those pictures, if I'm doing this right, hang tight. Again, we didn't really prep a lot for this, but I do want you guys to see photos here. Again, this is about learning. This is about a learning situation here, not. So here we go. Do you guys see those pictures, Jake?
I see your folder. I don't see the picture.
All right. The picture's not there. All right. Well, dang it. I guess I'll
Why does
stop.
Adam added media assets and just Adam as
Yeah,
picture?
they just wouldn't share as a HEIC. I have them as JPEG, but they wouldn't share as the HEICs. I have to go resave them as something else. But when you're telling a story, I'll go do that right here on the computer and save them. But anyway, you guys can see that that particular dam has a little bit of even a different rule and law for it. But either way, we clarify the 100 foot. So what do we do as good tournament staff and director? We say, hey, we don't want to break anyone to break a rule or a law and have to get a disqualification or whatever. It's the same reason I was downstream to begin the event. I was like, hey, before the event even starts on Friday, I'm going to send them all a push notification right now and say, make sure you stay 100 feet back. That's what the law says. That way they all know, they all get the push. They're just sitting there waiting to take off. So not that we have to even do that because it's their responsibility, right? So, and we did that. And then we also in that push, and you guys go back and see this, I said, don't just take a bunch of photos and videos of someone that's beyond, inside of 100 foot and then send them to me and try to be a sportsman first, try to be sportsman-like about it. And so what that means is just, if you think someone's too close, just at least holler at them if you're close enough and say, hey, I think you're a little too close. We don't want, obviously you don't want them to get a DQ or a ticket or whatever. Try to do your best to help each other out. If someone's launching from somewhere that's some property that's, right near the public property and it's private, and there's a sign over there and they didn't see no trespassing, they're trying to launch from there, you want to let them know, not just sit there and wait with a camera trying to catch them. That's not sportsmanlike, and that's what our rules state. So the anglers, they did that. They did a great job. They and then in the push notification it says, after you've let another angler know and try to be sportsmanlike, if you want to take a picture or video, maybe they think they're 100 foot away, and so they're in their right to stay there if they want to. But you're in your right to also, as anglers, who I'm telling you guys, please, anything you see out there or whatever, take a photo or video, send it to me. Happy to review it to make sure everything's on the up and up. And even if you're not sure if somebody's breaking a rule, you're welcome to do that. So anyway, that's what happened. We got some photos, we got some videos. Then we went back and looked at our drone footage. We had no clue until after we got off the water that day, and then we had to go on Friday till midnight. I was up researching the laws and the rules. I did a live. Remember, I went live on Friday doing a Friday recap, and because we had some English who were questioning, they just weren't sure. They wanted us to look into it. I looked into it, and I just doubled down again on the live, the recap. Stay 100 feet away from the dam. 100 feet away from the dam. That's the rule, guys. And then also after that live stream, we sent an email out, a Friday recap email, again with the identifier code for Saturday, and a few little bullet points of information. You guys could find those emails. And I said, 100 feet from the dam, stay away. So 3 times now we've sent something to try to do our best to make sure no one was inside that. Because again, we don't want to DQ people. It's if I can help prevent it, I'm going to help try my best to prevent it, even though it's not our responsibility. So anyway, that's what we did. We did that. And then the next morning, I knew that the next day I had to immediately get up. And as a tournament director, you want to get things resolved before awards, right? You got to, if there's something in question, if you can get it resolved before the awards, it's like triage. You got to go fast and have this sort of figured out before awards. And then as a tournament director, if you're even just 51% and 49%, one way or the other, you always got to go with the 51% or 60% or whatever you're most confident in. And then we have a 48-hour period protest, and then the rest can take care of itself if anybody, has any issues with it. You just got to go with, and if I needed to, I would have had to make a call myself. But my first goal primarily was to go find someone who actually knows and can see based on these photos, is there any way to for sure tell these aren't two inanimate objects, still, it's like it's a tree and a rock. I can go over there, measure and say, oh, it's, you know what I mean? It's kayak angles that we're moving. There's camera angles. There's weird, but there's certainly identifiable objects in these photos and rocks and things like that you can sort of tell they're right near or next to. So I wanted to get the opinion of the wildlife officer that writes tickets at that dam. That's his jurisdiction. Like every single week, he's there.
Yeah,
So
and he said that he does it a lot.
he does it a
Unfortunately,
lot. He reaches out. We reached out to him, and he finally got back on shift. It wasn't until 3 o'clock that day, so that we finally got heard back from him. So what I did before then, I'm always trying to, like, again, do my best to help the anglers not get anything penalized or disqualified. So we went to the dam that morning. I went over there, and after all those notifications, right, and emails, I went over there just to double check everyone was doing what they should be at the dam. And then I call some guys were getting, they look, I don't know what 100 foot is. I don't know. Again, I personally have no way to really know. So some guys that were a little closer, I gave them a courtesy phone call. I said, hey, couple things. One, make sure you stay 100 foot. I know you guys have probably seen my messages, but two, there we have some photos of you guys that are pretty close to the dam. I don't know if it's 100 foot or not, but I'm looking into it. So I want you guys to know this, because you don't want to be throwing back 16s. You know what I mean? Or 17s or 18s, whatever. You think you don't need those fish. You might, if for some reason we can allow just one day, you see what I'm saying, to be DQ'd and allow fish the next day, or they're in another tournament, the native and all the other locals. I need to do my due diligence, because right now all I had was information from Friday, right? Pictures and our drone footage. So that's what I did. I gave them a courtesy to let them know that it doesn't change what they do. Just keep fishing hard, keep catching big fish. Just make sure you're at least taking pictures of all of them. And because they were in the joint event, the good news was they were probably taking pictures of all of them as well. You know what I mean? They needed them for the native, I'm sure. So anyway, I did that to try to, make sure everything was fine. And, that was it. Then later in the day, we finally got, in touch in person with this wildlife officer. He came on duty and clarified that, yes, it was from the boil, just like the sign says at that dam. And he looked at the photos, and this is what he does every day, guys, for a living. And he said, these are 100% in violation. Wasn't trying to get anyone a ticket, but he said he's got to write these guys a ticket. It was egregious. It wasn't like going a couple miles over the speed limit. He said this was well within inside 100 foot, and fishing at the fish ladder spillway area, the fish ladder. There's a law there about 100 foot. So anyway, and some of these photos have gotten leaked out. It wasn't by us, that's for sure. When people take photos of their own, they can do whatever they want with them. It's not my media rights. It's theirs. So anglers leaked them. That's it is what it is. But the anglers in question, they're like, hey, we get it. It's, we understand, and that's the rules. And the wildlife officer is kind of the third party, unbiased final say. And of course, once there's a disqualification, once there's a citation from, the Pennsylvania, what is it, Fish and Boat Commission, fishing, then it's an automatic DQ. We can't really, and that's just our rules. So that's it. I mean, there's not really any, people. I personally don't think these anglers, and who could ever know, right? For sure. But I mean, at least one of them was filming himself. So I think they just thought they were within 100 yards. Maybe it's just tough to really know. But in their defense, it is tough to know over there, guys. I mean, there's no buoys right there. There's no line. There's no cable above. I mean, I think you don't, if you're trying to intentionally cheat, again, I don't know. I don't anticipate they were, because they were filming. And if you're doing that, that's the worst thing you want to do, is film yourself. I mean, it's so incriminating to be filming an event if you're going to try to intentionally cheat. You know what I mean? So even if you never shared that footage, to even have that in your possession in your home would be, at some point, if there was ever a trial and the police had to go into your home or whatever, like any sort of, I guess thing that happens in other trials and other things that happen, right? They would be able to go in there with a warrant into your home and search stuff. So it'd be the dumbest thing in the world. So I will, I don't, we don't look at you guys. We don't know anything that's going, we don't consider anyone's, past or whatever people say, hearsay, rumors. It doesn't matter. You guys are numbers to us when we are actually judging the rulings on the event, and our judges have no clue either. You're just we may consider you friends outside of the tournament itself and those judgments and things like that, but you're just a number to us when it comes to the event. We have to rule everyone the same. I'm sure, Roger Goodell probably considers himself friends with whoever, Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen or whoever, but when it comes to them violating something, he's got to discipline or do whatever he has to do based on the rules of the NFL. So, that's kind of the way it went down. I mean, that's basically it. I mean, they got disqualified. It's a lesson learned from everyone to make sure you know the laws in your state, in your area. And again, I'm not online. People people talking about it, drama. I would just say we've all made mistakes. I've had penalties on stage. I called out, some of the names I know that don't mind, being called out. Christine, Russ, whoever else, Gene Jensen, they were all there and they were raising their hands. Yeah, we've been DQ'd before too. And it's not like this was some cheating, like a fish in a basket, weights and fish sort of thing. This was just, it got a little too close. I mean, they probably just got a little greedy. They just knew some big fish were there.
Yeah, it definitely feels like the reality is it was multiple anglers that got DQ'd. It was not just one person. So just to clarify, it's easy to like, single out one person, but the reality is, we had multiple infractions. So,
and I'm sure some other people, I mean, could have been closer too. It's the judgment. And I even said this in the email. You have to do your best good faith effort to, if you get sucked in a little close, to get back. You always have to, because whether or not there's the DNRs there, get writing tickets or not, doesn't mean you're still okay. And there can't be a disqualification or you're not breaking the law. We have to do our best to protect the entire field. Otherwise, who would ever fish any event that is the tournament director is not upholding the rules? You know what I mean? And the laws. Like, so we have to. And of course, our hands are tied. We weren't trying to get these guys, a ticket or anything, but obviously that's what had to happen. And it's at least a third party was able to confirm. I probably would have, had to do a lot more research and measuring and stuff like that, and really make a call myself. But obviously we want to always get a third party if we can. We consulted with other people, other tournament directors, national directors, and folks like that. So, and then that's it, guys. That's kind of the story. It's not that exciting, honestly. It really isn't. But apparently it is to other people online. I guess they got nothing else really going on, but that's kind of it. Anything else you want to add to that? I mean,
no. Someone did bring up, Michael said, like, I don't think getting a citation necessarily means that you're guilty, which I get what he's saying there. Like, but the thing is like, it was kind of like a mix between, if it was more like ambiguous, it would have been a lot harder to make that decision. But when it's like multiple things plus the citation, it's like, there you go. It's like
we also had, Michael, GPS pins, the metadata that came directly from obviously their phones on their fish they measured from Tourney X, that went and was measured to the dam, which actually should have been measured to the boil, and even to the dam it was under 100 foot.
And
multiple.
I mean,
like
obviously
4 or 5 photos.
There's no world where any tournament director is like sitting there like, yeah, I can't wait to make a disqualification today, like that. And I'm not, it's just, it was unfortunate. And like, it was honestly like, it was both an easy and tough decision just in general. It was
right.
It was very conflicting, because it's like, you want people to be treated fairly, the whole field, but you also don't want to screw over or hurt the other anglers who don't have a chance to be like, wait, it's like, that's why like it did kind of work out to where if we did have to do that, they still had their fish submitted. It was in, there wasn't like, there was still like, it's not like we cut off their fishing day early or anything like that.
Yeah, to Michael's, I agree. I mean, it was, to Michael's point here though, that's where I'm saying, as a tournament director, you have to get to the bottom of it as fast as you can, and have some. We documented everything. Everything's documented, and you have to get to it as fast as you can. And for us, fortunately, thank God, there is a wildlife officer who does this every day at that dam for a living. He knows where every rock is, how far away it is, and even if he gives some leniency here and there, for our tournament, doesn't matter. Exactly under like 99 foot, you would be DQ'd because you got 1 foot closer than another angler was able to make a cast. So if you're 15 feet, and the guy, even if it was that much, and the officer staring at the dam and he doesn't give you a ticket, doesn't matter. Law says 100. You've got to be 100. That's not fair that you get 15 feet and everyone else is doing the right thing, staying back. And so what you have to do in these photos, again, some of them are out there. It's so egregious and so obvious when you measure it. It's not even close. That like, we know this is going to, if they wanted to fight it, like you can fight a speeding ticket for sure, but you need to have some sort of proof or whatever, obviously, to be able to like a GoPro literally running behind you, showing your speedometer, like was.
And that's also something we did consider. Like, I know we spoke to the anglers and been like, hey, if you've got proof that like this was incorrect, like,
Yeah. Oh
by all
yeah.
means, because like
Show it to us.
yeah, but then like you see some of the other stuff where just kind of like, well, I mean, the reality is like the rule doesn't say you can kind of go here,
Yeah.
right?
It doesn't
It
say
says
just
you
if you
can't
caught
go.
fish.
So
Yeah, it
it's
doesn't
like,
say only if you're, when if you were up in front of there but you didn't catch fish, then you're okay. As long as all your fish catches were behind 100, then you're good. No, it's if you're fishing at all inside that.
but
That's an
anyways, to get
advantage of
back to
getting
what
so.
Michael said, I
Yeah,
definitely get what he's saying. I
yeah,
100% understand that.
I get it.
And I could see there being issues with that, especially if you run into the wrong person and you get accused of something by a game officer. That, and
Right.
I think like it's really got to be a case by case basis with that. Like I think Michael is correct. Like
Hmm.
you
For
can't just
sure.
be like, oh, you got a ticket for fishing with like I don't know. It's like
Yeah, yeah.
this
I mean,
game warden says you're fishing with 3 hooks on your Alabama rig when you really only had 2, but he couldn't tell or something.
right. The
So
so, but either way, to Michael's point here, either way, no matter what, if you have anglers who give you information and feel like they might have been inside 100, and then you've got to figure it out. You have to figure it out in one way or the other. So you either have to, and like I said, if I did all my research and I did everything I could, which is what we did, we didn't fly the drone at all on day, other than right there at the dam. Our whole day was spent doing everything we can to find somebody at Pennsylvania, uh, you know, boat commission to get an answer to this and do more research and get more information, more data. We have to make a call. We have to. And if it's 51%, if you only assure 51% or 52, whatever, just over 50%, it's this is most likely the right call. You got to just rule in that, and then let the protest period and the anglers. I mean, it's happened to me. I mean, I was protested and DQ'd, and then I appealed. Like it can, you obviously can go through that process. That's okay. But either way, you got to do something, right? You got to like make a decision one way or the other. And for us, it was like once the wildlife officer that is a third party, unbiased, doesn't have any clue who these people are, looked at those photos and said, this is a slam dunk. This isn't even close, guys. And I have to write him a citation. Then obviously it was easy for me to know, no, that is, you know, he's like 100%. I mean, it wasn't even 51%. This is like 100%. So, from this guy. And so that's kind of what, yeah, there's some cool drone shots here. Beautiful
yeah.
river. But anyway, that's what we had to go with. And, they're
And
welcome
you
to go.
technically, to answer this question, you technically can troll in our event. Not that many
Yeah.
people probably did it on the Susquehanna River, but
Yeah. That's
that
true.
being said, if you were on the North Branch, there is a pretty good chance that he was looking for walleye doing
Yeah.
that, and he was just fun fishing.
Yeah.
So
Anyway, that was the situation at the dam. And, like I said, the anglers will, I don't know if Eddie said anything or Jacob, whatever, they'll say what they want to say about it and kind of share their side. And I'm sure, it's just a lesson that we all can learn. We can take a positive away from it. That's the final thing is let's just take a positive away from it. And, obviously, we're here to uphold our rules and the laws. We actually have a permit from the state of Pennsylvania that says we have to do that for any of the, tournaments we hold in their state. We have to enforce that our anglers stay within the law, and that's what we agree to. Otherwise, they won't let us hold events in Pennsylvania again if we don't. So we came to them with that, and that's our duty, what we agree to. So that's kind of why we did that. And a lot of people don't know this too, Jake. I mean, I didn't just start this tournament trail without any experience. I've got like educational background in sports management. I have a master's degree in sports management. I ran sports leagues for 5 years at the collegiate level, a couple different universities before I got into fishing for a living, like full time with fishing stuff. So, I mean, not that just because you have an education means you are an expert or you know everything or you never make mistakes. Because trust me, I do. Steve Owens, myself, anybody, Vinny, Gene, anyone who's been a tournament director, AJ, they all, we all admit like we're human, we're flawed too. We can make mistakes. We do our best not to, obviously, but obviously, if you're going to get a surgery, you probably want to go to the doctor who's got an education and, not one that doesn't. Just, I watch YouTube videos and I learned how to do this, so at least have some third party accreditation of the university, Georgia State University, that, my emphasis was in sports management, like in recreational sports leagues, like universities and things like that. So running leagues and tournaments. And I ran the River Bassin tournament for like 8 years as well, that tournament trail. So we didn't just, come up with this and not have a plan, a procedure, and rules, and everything in place for all this. So, and we're definitely that's beautiful right there, man. Look at that shot.
Yeah,
Definitely
give
not
that guy a raise.
definitely have to enforce them, guys. You know that when you go to Kayak Adventure Series events, you better know that you don't know where the drone's going to be. You don't know where other anglers are going to be with cameras. That more people are filming in our tournaments than I think anywhere else, just because of the incentives to filming. So yeah, it's a good thing. It's actually a little side thing. Is not just good content to share on social media for you guys and for us to share, promote your brands or your just whatever, just to have for your own memories. It's actually really cool that it keeps the field honest, and you can go into our events kind of knowing that it's kind of really really hard to get away with anything. And again, this particular situation, I mean, this was just a just a mistake, and I know Eddie's been amazing so far, owned up to it, said, hey man, I got a little too close, and I saw other anglers getting a little close, and it pulled me in. And there were other anglers there that probably were in breach of this rule. There's no doubt about it. I know that someone else probably got closer, but
And it's not
we
just
don't
this
have.
dam that this rule
Oh yeah,
applies.
not just this dam, other dams, but we don't have photos of those anglers. If we do, we would have to report those to the Fish and Game as well. So
And
anyway,
I do want to say, Hidden River Journal said, like, is there extending a zone 100 people to that? So that was actually something I think that we talked about, like going forward in future events, making it so that dams there's just put an extra 200 feet there, like 300. You have to be 300 feet from every part of the dam. That way you're never, right on top of it, basically,
yeah, I mean,
like I almost feel like that's where we're heading, maybe even 400 feet. It's like
we'll
you have to
see.
be,
I don't know if I'm a fan of that per se, but we'll see. We'll have to. This is all stuff we'll go over in the winter,
yeah.
because the reality is a lot of times there's other people at these particular places anyway. So I mean, if they're there and they've got a camera, what I mean, they're there competing against you, right? So, but the bottom line is most dams. This is a unique situation because the buoys are not at 100 feet. There's nothing
There's
out there.
only
There's no
one buoy.
wire. Yeah, there's a couple buoys, but they're not 100. There's a wire. There's no wire across the river that with the signs that hang that you see on some dams that say danger. Don't get closer, like turbulent water, sudden rises, all that stuff you see. There isn't that there. It's hard for you guys. It's very hard to know where 100 foot is, unless you have a rangefinder. You really don't know, unless you're just sitting there and measure with Google Maps. You drop a pin where the blue dot is and measure. You really don't know. So other dams have a little bit clearer, like in Mississippi River, right? Remember, Jake, last event? There's signage. It's a narrower river way up there, and there's signage on this side of the river and that side. You can see exactly when you look across if you're past it. So this is just a weird, unique situation that is, I'm sure there's going to be events here in the future that I think
That
will
was
be.
cool. I never noticed that. Watch that.
What?
Watch the chatterbait. Goes right over the drone. You got
Oh,
really
wow.
lucky right there.
Yeah, I didn't see. Yeah, go back where it stops getting gray. I want to see that again.
Watch.
But
See?
well,
I mean,
I just can't see anything because it's dark. It hasn't like lightened up on my screen. But I remember there was some casts. I was, yeah, went right over the drone. Yeah, that was a pretty cool shot. Wonder if he did that on purpose. But anyway, that was basically the. I don't know if there's any other questions about that, but that's kind of it. And
yeah, I
then
mean it would be hard to gauge 300 feet from a dam. I mean,
yeah,
it creates a
it'd
new
be tough.
problem. It's like
Yeah,
you can see Jody's probably at like 300 or 400 feet right now from one.
yeah, yeah. That was. I was trying to get a cool shot of him in the frame there on the sunset form, so we can like screenshot that. I tried to get several anglers doing that. So
I got a good photo of Jody in the sunset. So,
but I wouldn't. That's beautiful there. I wouldn't. I would keep remember the Kayak Adventure Series rules. There's sportsmanship and conduct rules. So even online on social media, we talk about that. If I were you guys, this is nothing more than I would just assume it's nothing more than obviously innocent mistake. They were filming. They thought they were within 100, and just let it be. I mean, it's probably they're frustrated, of course, as they would be, as I would be. We all have been there. I've been there before. Trust me, very frustrated. They natural emotion. It's a very emotional sport. There's a lot on the line. Of course, but I mean, they got disqualified because they got the citation. It was kind of a third party, so no sense in being a jerk or piling on or saying anything and being just move on. Just we all learn the lesson and just kind of move on. And there are sportsmanship rules for Kayak Adventure Series, and if we see you guys doing that and stirring the pot and trying to just cause more drama or whatever. It's kind of like, just not something we want. We don't want anyone that's like that in our events. So if you're continuing to do that and causing a problem online, then we just have the right to say we don't allow you to fish our events.
You know
Just not
what?
it's
I
not what we're
think
about.
we've said enough. We should focus on the
This guy.
winner. Look at
Yeah.
that.
There we go. Mr. Josh Brewer. I don't know, Josh, if he's watching or listening. I don't know if he's on social media, if he's on his Instagram or not. I couldn't find him. But we'll have to see if he's on there. But hit us up with your Instagram handle. If anyone knows it, put it in here. But I mean, that came out of the blue, just kind of to everybody, I think. Christine was up there. I think the whole awards came out of the blue because they know a couple anglers had, obviously one was over 100 and the other one 93 something after day one, I believe. So, and then he came out of
it
the
was
blue.
definitely tougher for sure, but people caught good limits. Like,
Yeah,
there were some good limits caught. So,
yeah, for sure. So, Ewing and Christine took that team division. We had a packed house at Brewski's for the awards. I mean, there was at least, do you think 100 people were there? It was close to 100 back at the awards. I think at least it was packed in that 100 range. We raised a lot of money for autism, for the autism anglers as well with that raffle kayak from Native. Again, we are all trying to just get everything in order after this event. I have no idea how much we raised yet. I got to go back and look because we have cash. We got to add that with Stripe payments or Venmo, PayPal. That was all people used all those to buy raffle tickets. So yeah, there's the results here. Jordan Welliver, I mean, just a local hammer there. Right there in third after Christine was in second. John Dalton just rolls out. I mean,
here was an interesting
YouTuber.
story, which we kind of played into it a little bit at awards. Is look at this tie.
Oh, the tie was insane.
4-way tie from 5th to 8th. So Ryan Melter, Eric Hawks, Joe McElroy, and Kyle Maddox all had a 4-way tie.
Yeah.
And it's like they all had different big fish. 1925. Yep. And it was like perfect. It like kept going up as they.
Yeah. So this was tougher. I will say that was tougher. But if you go back to old Hobie events that were there, it was like this too back then. Then we had some years. It was like you got to have 97, 98, you know what I'm saying? Like kind of in that range, 90, 96, but like for 2 days, you know what I mean? Both days. But so it was a little tougher given how many people we had in this event. We did expect it to get a little bit higher than that because, hey, look at Springfield, Ohio, the great Midwest of us. It was one with more than the Susquehanna River. So shout out to Ohio fishing. People knock on Ohio, but it took more to win that event.
Well, quarter inch, but yeah.
quarter inch more, right. But we didn't have as many people even, and that we still had a good number of people in that event. But anyway, it just wasn't fishing as good as it normally is. I know there was a fish kill earlier in the year, and
I will say though, like numbers wise, we had a lot of fish submitted. People caught a lot of fish, and in the native side of things, like people caught a ton of fish. I think Russ had, I want to say
27 fish, 400, right?
490 inches or something.
Yeah,
like
it's insane. So let's see.
People were catching like quality 18s and 19s all the way down.
They were.
Like look at this. Like half the field is in the
low 20 right there. Travis Von Neumann. We got some big fish. Another 20. Chad Claypool. Hidden River Journal saying, are we coming back next year? Well, at Broodstock, again, this is a good time to shout out Broodstock. We're still going to be in Pennsylvania for our final event in September 12th and 13th. That's an open event. Our final event, we call it a finale, just so you guys know, it's not a championship. It's a finale. It's an open event. Now, we're going to crown the Angler of the Year and Team of the Year, of course, but in terms of the event itself, it's an open finale. So come join us over there. It's going to be an awesome event. The Allegheny is a great river to fish. And then you've got we got like 5 or 6 lakes abounds for that one too. And those lakes have some great largemouth fishing as well. So, and if you were at this event, by the way, we do want your photos and videos still. Go onto the website, go click on 4 anglers and then click on upload photo video. We do want you guys to submit your footage and your photos for our recap article. But Hidden River Journal, to answer your question, at the Broodstock, we will announce next year's full schedule. So find out where we're going to be. I will give you a hint. We are trying to come back to the state. I won't say what section or where or whatever. We're trying to come back. So we'll see. And then
shout out to the kids in this, by the way.
Kids are awesome.
Obviously Tristan and Oliver.
Yep.
the Lee
Tristan
dynasty.
Oliver. Yeah.
They're killing
Josiah.
it.
Josiah in
That
second
whole
place.
family is just like, look at this
Yeah.
fish. Like when I put that into the presentation, I was just like, man,
Yep.
such a ham, you know? It's like just
Mm-hmm.
so tall. It reminds me
Big.
of
So
Upper Mississippi River,
that wasn't like a
river fish.
Mississippi
But we
River.
had, I think we had 5 youth people in this event. So
Mm-hmm. It was a good,
pretty
good one
cool.
for sure. The team, I don't know about the teams you want to show that, but that was kind of cool seeing you guys in the team. But I will say this:
Big
what's
fish
it?
was Jody.
Yeah, Jody had big fish. That was a giant right there.
Unfortunately,
I
we
mean,
did have a 21 and a quarter that was on the DQ stringer.
yep. Jacob caught it. I mean, guys, no doubt about it. You know, he's out there catching his fish. He's obviously a little too close to the dam. I got the citation, but he's catching his fish. He's a stick. He really knows what he's doing out there. We got him. All the anglers can see him. He's catching fish. He knows what he's doing. Obviously, got a little too close to the dam, but either way, he had a 21 and a quarter. Right? I mean, that just shows what the Susky can produce. It certainly can produce that.
And
And
shout out too to Ryan Parker. So
yeah,
Ryan lost all of his fish
from day
from day
one.
one because he used the example identifier instead of
Yep.
the actual code. And if Ryan had those fish, he would have had, I think they said 94 and a quarter,
That
which
would
would
have
have
put
put him
him.
at right behind Christine.
Yeah. So we did have another great total from him, but that's just kind of stuff that happens here. But if you want, you keep doing this or pull up drone footage, whatever. But I do want to address the other thing that I thought was funny, that like we talked about earlier. So someone said that these events are a pin grab or whatever, waypoint grab. So I just got to talk about this. This is funny. And I really don't have time to go online and see all this or whatever, address any of this, nor do I care. But I just thought this one was so funny and ridiculous that I wanted to like just tell this little story. So just follow me here. So I have been fishing these natural tournaments and fished here back with Hooked on Wild Waters. You know, I did a Hooked on Wild Waters episode on the Susquehanna. I fell in love with fishing again. I grew up fishing as a kid, and I kind of got out of it a little bit. You know, it was, when you're in college, you kind of do other stuff. And then when I graduated college, a buddy of mine lived in Hershey, Pennsylvania. His parents are from Hershey, and he said, "Hey, man, do you want to come up and help remodel my parents' extra bedroom? They need help remodeling it. We could just stay for the summer until we figure out what we want to do with our lives, right?" So I was like, all right, why not, man? I've never been up there. Let's go. So I live with his family and him up there, and it's in Hershey. I had no idea what the Susquehanna River was. All I know is he took me to a little creek. I'm talking like you could jump across this creek. And we were playing there one day, just kind of goofing off, killing time. And there were so many crawfish in this creek, Jake. You could walk on them. You could step on them all the way across. You're just crunching crawfish. I've never seen anything like this. I was like, man, this is a really healthy little creek. I was like, where does this flow into? He was like, oh, it flows into some other little, like, bigger creek. I was like, we should go get some fishing rods, man. There's got to be some really good fish in this little creek. So we got fishing rods, cheapos over there at like Walmart. And we started catching these like 12, 14-inch smallmouth out of this dinky creek that creek fed into. And I was like, and then I had said to him a couple days later, I said, where does this creek go? He goes, there's some big river called the Susquehanna River it flows into. I was like, really? Let's go fish that. And we went to the local tackle shop, and they were like, dude, this is some of the best smallmouth bass fishing anywhere in the country. And we got like 6'6" like spinning rods now. So these dinky like 5-footers, we have like 6'6" spinning rods. And the guy told us, he goes, man, just go out by the airport. There's a place you can access. Just wade there. We were throwing tubes, just catching giant, buzz baits tubes. Like I caught several like 20 inchers. There was a big drought that year too, so it was super low, easy to wade the whole thing. I fell in love with this river. So later on in life, when I was doing Hooked on Wild Waters and hosting that TV show, I wanted to do an episode on the Susquehanna River. So I did an episode there. We fished a lot there. By the way, the rest of that summer, needless to say, we never finished. We didn't help one bit with the remodeling of that guest room, one bit. We were out on that river floating it. His cousin had a little John boat. We were out in that river fishing every single day and floated the whole thing. It was awesome. It was right near that 3 Mile Island area. So we loved it, man. And it's always kind of held a special place in my heart because that's kind of what brought me kind of back to fishing and fall in love with it again. And then I go back to Georgia to live with my parents during my grad school. I decided to go to grad school in Atlanta, and I needed something to do, to kind of get out of the house. I love my parents, dude. My dad loves to fish, but I still need to get away, have a little time to myself. And I just went wading the rivers and fell in love with it and found a forum called GeorgiaRiverFishing.com, and people were using kayaks to fish back in like 2004, just starting to use kayaks in those rivers. And so I got one, and the rest is history. But I started river bassing, and then river bassing, someone said that somebody thought river bassing, I have waypoints from river bassing. So river bassing, there was no tourney X. This is so early. And we were hosted out of Wrightsville, and our boundary didn't go up as far as I've ever fished. Like that first Hobie I fished on this river, like that was way out of bounds for any river bassing. And everywhere I fished since then was always way up there, right? And more like up that Sunbury down a little ways, I don't know, like 15, 20 miles. None of that was even in bounds back in the river bassing tournament days that I held out of Wrightsville, I think. There was a shop there, local kayak shop there. So anyway, but long story short, this tournament system, they didn't show metadata. There wasn't exact pins. I set a radius of 60 miles in that. And anybody can go contact the guy. I happen to give you his number if anyone really cares. But it was just either it was inside that radius. Your metadata was in the radius and the fish was accepted, or it was out of that radius. I was able to set it from a specific point, 60 miles or whatever it was, 40 miles, I think. Whatever I did on the river that event, most of them were 60, but I think that event was less actually because it was such a wide, big river. Anyway, so that's kind of funny to me that someone said river bassing was a pin grab as well, when I wasn't even fishing tournaments until 2019 is when I really started even trying to fish some more like serious. I think I fished maybe 17 or 18 in the KBF one event, the KBF National Championship on Kentucky Lake, where I'd never fished before. Anyway, that was just kind of funny to me that someone thought somehow river bassing, I had gotten waypoints from 2013 or whatever, whenever we were there, that actually somehow helped me in the future, other events that, yeah, that's the funniest thing. But the other thing I was going to say, Jake, is so this event, they thought this is a waypoint pin grab event, right? So just track me. If this is true, and Kayak Adventure Series is some big ruse and it's all just to grab waypoints, this is what had to happen. 2 years before I started Kayak Adventure Series, 2 years, I started the concept, built it all. No one knew about it. You didn't know about it. No one knew about it. I talked to GoPro, talked to Spawn, I had to make sure I had support, right? I do all this time. I put all this work into it to like build this thing, build a website, invest all my own time, my own money, do all this so I could have an adventure series where we start our first event after we put our website up and announce it live on that live stream with Bailey and Alex and you and myself. We all went live explaining what this is, and we adventure to all these new places that none of the other tournament trails ever go to, or probably never will go to, because we have a new format. It's around a single city that has multiple bodies of water, rivers, lakes, and creeks, right? That can encompasses enough water where it can hold a tournament with whatever, 200, 300, 400, 500 people. We would be fine having tournaments that big, which hopefully we will one day. But anyway, so then a year and a half later, after we started, and we're spending all this money, time, investing, building this thing, we make a web. We have our first event in what was that first event? Shoalipalooza, right? And we run 6 events the first year in locations that no one else will ever go to or has gone to, that I'll never fish any events there. And then so I can run 7 events in 2025, so I can finally get my big payoff. I'm finally going to get my big payoff where I'm going to sneak a Susquehanna River event in on the 5th event or 6th event, sorry, of the year. Because maybe there will be another tournament that I'm going to fish in the future where I can grab some waypoints, which is hard to do when I've outsourced it and have no clue where anyone is other than some people that we obviously saw with our eyes. But so I can get some waypoints on a fishery that I've only ever finished in the top 10. One time I did get 20th. I actually had a bad second day. I was in 4th after day 1, but I did a bad second day. But anyway, I've always I couldn't even comprehend that this is somebody's theory out there. It made me crack up. I was like, anyway, that's playing the long game, dude. That is quite the ruse to try to win whatever, like 6, 7, 8,000, 9,000, whatever the turn, whatever it is. That's quite the thing to do. So, man, that's far-fetched. So that's a story about that. If anyone has any questions,
in the old days, a lot of people used SD cards.
Yeah, we had SD cards too. We did use those early on in river bass, and maybe even at that event we were still using SD cards. So that just made me laugh, man, so much. I just so you guys know this, it's not illegal to get information. It's not illegal to in up to a certain point, right? For events, it's not illegal to get buy stuff on fish tips. It's not illegal to hire a guide up to a certain point. That's not fun for me. I literally don't get information from anybody ever. This is me personally. For any event, I just go on what I've learned throughout the years. Again, I always credit my wife. I didn't meet her till I was 35, and I just fished all the time. And I've always learned and kept it all in the back of my brain what these fish do and where they are. And and sometimes, I don't know, man. It just blew me away. I was like, again, not that there's anything wrong if you do that within the legal time frame. I don't do any of that. I just like to go and explore and adventure and find the fish myself. And I'll say this too, Jake. If you see a waypoint of someone who won, if I actually ever knew and saw a waypoint, actually, I know this is a good example. I'll never fish that dam. Have I ever fished it? Nope. Have I always had a hunch there's big fish there? Of course. Big fish are behind dams. That's not a secret. But now you will never see me behind that dam because now I'll never know, like, was I ever going to go there without knowing this? Like, I don't know. Maybe I would have, maybe I wouldn't have, but it actually cut off a spot that I'll never be able to go on this river at any tournament. You'll never see me there. It's just not my style anyway. It's right there in the middle of the town. So it's just not my style, but it's just funny to me that it actually will hurt me anywhere that we might go. And anywhere we go that someone else may go in the future, you'll never see me.
I'll tell you what. The Susquehanna River is the most exposed river in America, unfortunately. Oh, yeah. For better or worse. And I know that probably pains a lot of locals to hear, but
yeah.
I mean, I feel like I have an intimate knowledge of that river. And I mean, there's tons more that I can know, obviously, but I mean, I could almost name every single launch on that river. And I live in.
And I've caught big fish everywhere. On every launch, I've caught big fish, and I struggle with where to go based on where I'm predicting the rest of the fields will go.
Like,
I'm struggling every tournament.
Like, everyone gets like caught up in like every single launch on that river has big fish.
Absolutely, dude. 100%.
Obviously, different times of year, they're in different spots. They're doing different things. Water levels impact a lot of things.
That's right. That's right. So if I see, so this is another little side to this. If I ever even see or know or hear with people talking or whatever that a Russ or a Guillermo, Christine, like, whoever, like, you name any, like, top, a Jody, Abby, Ewing, I mean, dude, any one of these top anglers, man, I am going to avoid that area like the plague. You want to know why? You do not want to fish behind any of them, dude. You don't want to fish around them, behind them. There will not be enough fish left for two people to win a tournament. There's enough winning fish in places that they aren't. So if I ever get word that someone somewhere, it's the opposite with me. I make sure I don't go there because I don't want to try to share fish with someone. So that's good. Like, I know they're going to clean it up, dude. They're going to vacuum that place up. So it's just so funny to me. The other thing that's interesting is, if you think about it, waypoint grab makes no sense. It doesn't make any sense, guys, because obviously there's winning fish all over these lakes. Just because a tournament was won in certain areas, this or whatever, there's so many more places that the tournament, they're winning bags all over these lakes. So here's what's funny. In Champlain, I had a horrible event, right? I mean, standings wise, I had a horrible event. But I know Guillermo lost basically 100 inches of fish. I lost, at least I would have had 95 plus, have been in the top 10. And Guillermo and I both, we were, right there, 1 and 2 in AOI. We both were way down the standings. I don't know. He had 80 something inches. I had like, whatever that was, a one-day thing, right? What did I have? 80, 79?
80.
Just a horrible event. But no one would know this. No one who ran that event would ever go look at they would never go look at my waypoints because I didn't have 95 or 93 or 100 inches, right? What's the point? Oh, that guy didn't do anything. Well, you know what? I lost 95 plus inches of fish. Guillermo is the same thing, way down and wherever he was, 30th, 40th place, whatever. I don't know, but no one would ever go look at those waypoints because it doesn't matter, because we didn't have a number that would like appeal to someone who's trying to waypoint grab. But the reality is 50 people in Champlain, 50 people probably were at a spot and had and lost fish on that were winning areas, and they just didn't execute and land them all. Obviously some did. It ended up in the top 10. So you could look at those particular waypoints, but even still the fish move, they change. It's like, why would you go there? Because if you see someone's waypoint on a fishery, if you actually did and they won, maybe they only had 5 bites, dude. I know Guillermo, I heard he lost a ton of fish, dude. I didn't lose a ton. I probably lost like 7 or 8 and that would have got there, but he lost a ton, I heard. So there was more fish there where he was that'll never pop on anyone's like waypoint grabbing tournament director scheme that people are talking about, they would never pop. But the person who wins might have only had 5 bites. That's it. And then they just happen to execute, catch them all. They were big ones. And then do you really think that person that you've got a waypoint from would not go back there if they won on a spot? They're going to be right back there. Do you think you're going to be able to win a tournament from a spot that another guy who obviously knows how to execute and catch the fish is going to be fishing at the same time? And maybe other people saw him, so they're already like, other people might already try to be there too. It's the dumbest strategy in the world you could ever use. Dumbest thing ever. You'll never win doing that. It's so ridiculous. But anyway, we don't go to places that the big national trails really go to. We're trying to explore. And even if we did, I outsource anywhere that we might go. I outsource the judging for that reason. And I communicate with the tournament director. I let them know that. I don't see anything, don't know, don't care. So ridiculous. I'll get off my rant on that. So, but I'll say this, though. Last thing I will say, I'm off the rant, but I will say this. If those people want to say stuff like that and talk like that, good. Let them just stew in their own, whatever reason that in their own lives, they have to try to create these narratives or theories. Maybe they're trying to make excuses for, why they haven't won events. I have no clue. But I know this, we don't want attitudes like that at a Kayak Adventure Series. We want positivity and fun and fellowship and sportsmanship. And that's what we're getting. There's a reason why nobody, like Patrick Mahomes has haters. The third string quarterback on the Chiefs, no one even knows his name. No one would be talking about this and this series, this event, if we weren't doing something, right? And having some fun and doing something and getting, people excited about, God's incredible creation, that we're taking you guys to all these beautiful, great fisheries. Every event at Kayak Adventure Series is one with 90 plus inches. Where have we ever had an event that was less than 90 something? We're going to cool, unique fisheries.
I don't think we've actually had an event under 90.
I don't think we have.
Because the lowest event we've ever had, which is kind of comical actually, was, I want to say the Michigan event was Parker had 90 and a quarter.
Oh, and in Towanda, he won with 90, just over 90, I think, because it was a flood on the Susky North Branch. But it was a flood, one-day thing. That's kind of like a rare. We would have definitely been way over 90, but we've never hit less than 90.
He had exactly 90. I just looked it up.
Exactly 90. I've never hit less than 90. You guys are having a good time. You're loving it. You're buying into the format. You love how laid back it is on the non-fishing side. It's easy. You don't have to get up super early 2 times. You get a break on Friday where everyone gets a break, for that Bash U brunch. The fish get a break. You get to relax. You could stay out late on Thursday at the opening ceremonies at our brewery or restaurant. You have fun together, fellowship, and then Friday you get up. We get you guys fed with breakfast. We have more fellowship. You can't get on the water anyway, so it's just relax, rigging. Then you get on the water. You get an afternoon bite, which is amazing. You get an evening afternoon bite. It's a weekday, not as many locals on the water. You get to fish into that sunset. It's beautiful. And then the next day, all day, Saturday, give you, 8-9 hours on, even up to 9 hours or more in the summer. And then we end on Saturday, so you guys can all drive home on Sunday. And we get to hang out and party as long as you guys want on Saturdays.
Hey, look, Josh, awesome. Josh did mention, by the way, at our event, that he fished the Towanda event, and there he is right there.
73 and a half.
He went from 17th to 1st.
That's Towanda. So the the moral of the story is, I guess you guys are enjoying it. We'll keep doing it, and appreciate all the support from everybody as always. And I had so many people, Jake, that came up to me. I don't know if you had it as well. You probably did. So many people, so many big names in the sport too. Which, by the way, if you see some big names in an event of ours, don't be threatened to get in. You know what I mean? Even if you just want to do the team division or in the individual, it's not like all the big top hammers or whatever in the sport are there. But what's cool is, because we have this fellowship time and this camaraderie, you get a chance to hang out with them, and they're all great people. They're willing to share whatever. They're all very open.
The vibes are great this go around.
Yeah,
we
great
had
vibes.
Tons
Christine,
of people at every event, and honestly, it was tough to get people to come if you were fishing down south to come to this stuff, because you got to drive so far on this river. We understood that. We were prepared for that, yet we still ran out of food at the Bass U brunch. That's the crazy part.
Yeah, I mean, and we did push those boundaries further down. Normally we wouldn't have gone even maybe that far, but Native really wanted it to go a little further down. Plus our rules let you go beyond the launch boundaries if you want, upstream or downstream, and take out wherever you want. You just had to initially launch in those those launch boundaries, and then you could take out wherever, up or down. So it still allowed people to fish a lot of the water that I think some people like to fish because maybe they just live closer to Harrisburg or whatever. So anyway, it was a great event all in all. It really was fun. Like I was saying, Christine and Russ, you guys got to see a lot of the big names. You know, like I said, Gene and Ewing. Who else was there? There's a lot of big Abby, Jody. There, and everyone is there, friendly and willing to share whatever with you guys. You know, John Dalton there. You just pulled up his thing. Creek Fishing Adventures. You had several
He
other
got 15 minutes late
YouTubers.
to the ramp, by the way, and got 4th place.
He did what?
He was 15 minutes late to the ramp Saturday and got 4th place.
That's his MO, being 15 minutes. That's good for him. 15 was like good.
Yeah, if he gets
also,
there early, he knows he's going to lose. But if he gets there right on time or late, he knows he's good.
Yep. So I do appreciate, I'm really bad at taking compliments. My wife tells me that. She's like, dude, I'm trying to compliment you. Just say thank you. Like, I can't look her in the eye when she's saying something nice about me or whatever. You guys on stage, it might have been awkward. I was like, I appreciate everything you guys said. To me, I'm just there to serve you guys. It's like, you know, if you're a doctor or a teacher or whatever, a server at a restaurant, you may be having the worst day and you got to sit there and put a smile on your face. You're just there to serve others when you're on the clock. And I was on the clock. Jake was on the clock. We're just there to make sure you guys have as much fun as possible. Hopefully have a format and structure where you catch as many fish as possible, which helps you have as much fun as possible, but have as much fellowship as possible and just a good time. And of course, as fair as possible back on that tournament director side of things. So that's all we're there to do. I'm not there to have fun. There are parts of it that are fun, and I love awarding you guys the prizes and seeing you have memories that'll last your entire life. You can't take money with you to the grave, but these memories are going to last your entire lifetime, and they're going to be what you really cherish. And that's what we're there to do. Even though a lot of it's
I was putting
not
that
fun.
Money straight into my truck at this event because
no doubt,
this place is huge.
It is huge. Yeah, we spent a lot of money on gas and driving around. So, but I appreciate all the support with you guys that did help us out and contributed to the Bass U brunch. That was amazing. Also, those of you guys who bought merch, who bought raffle tickets to support autism, we're going to keep it going. And, I just think we're doing something right. Obviously, if people are talking about us, then, hey, thank you. Thank you guys for considering us important enough to comment about and talk about. So I guess, but I don't, got a lot going on, man. I'm trying to fish my own stuff, trying to run this, trying to develop products with sponsors, develop my own, lures and stuff as well. And, just a lot going on, dude. I got wife, 3 dogs, 2 kids. So I don't have time to check it out or look at it anymore. I used to be more online and more social media than I am now. But, I guess people are going to say whatever they're going to say, but we're just going to keep creating fun environments and fun events and focus on us. And you guys are obviously loving it. So we'll keep going. So that's about it, man. I don't think there's really much else here. This is a good question from Elvis. Will the youth division have an AOI race for next season?
Yeah, I thought about that. I just don't feel like we have enough,
Yeah. But if we made it.
If we could keep, cultivating it and making it stronger, I feel like maybe it could. But the problem is it's really only 5. 5 is, the high end,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it could be something where we do have one. And even if there's only 15 or 20 different youth throughout the whole year, maybe we should have more next year as we continue to grow and contact high school fishing clubs. Maybe there's 30 or 40 total youth. I don't know. So we can make it happen either way. Even if it, like Elvis, even if it's just whatever, man, just a trophy and a $100 gift card. I mean, that's better than nothing. So we'll see if we can do that. We do a lot already in these contingencies and everything else. So we don't want to make anything too much more complicated. But the fact that you're interested in that, Elvis, is a great idea. Steve's comment here, you don't need waypoints, just use the PowerPole Vision. That thing looks sweet. With the satellite imagery, it is sweet, Steve. And, before then, if you don't have that, obviously just your iPhone, that's just how I fish. I just fish looking at satellite imagery. I find the stuff that I typically think, or I wouldn't say no, because I'm not always right. But at this point, when I've fished as long as I have, I'm, more often than not, I'm correct on where some fish are. And I use satellite imagery. That's all I really use. I don't really use Navionics too much, a little bit on some lake areas, but my backwater stuff is more satellite imagery for sure. So Zach from Dark Horse is saying that Franklin's going to be fantastic, and it is. It's going to be fun. You guys get signed up.
Hey,
it's going to be a great event.
I already previewed it. Took a little.
Did you?
Yeah.
Took a detour?
Yeah.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
I wanted to see. So I wanted to see because, as you come in, you go across.
Yeah.
I was curious about a launch, and like one of the launches that I looked at there wasn't really very conducive for bank angling for someone with a broken ankle. So I,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I didn't
The
end up driving down there, but I did stop
It's a
there.
cool area. It
It's
is,
like
man. It really is.
literally right off the road as I'm coming home.
Uh-huh. Nice. Jake Cook said he got DQ'd for altering fish pictures. My iPhone was in auto enhance. Lesson learned. So same thing. Again, that's a good way to kind of end it. Lesson learned for all of us. If you were not one of the two that obviously was a harder lesson learned for them with the citation, please learn the lesson now and not do that. Know it. That's important. And it's all about how you handle it. Once it happens, it's more about how you handle it, things in life, because we're all going to make mistakes. We do. It's more about how you respond from it and how you handle it going forward. It's where your true character shows. And I think, even in my situation when I was protested, remember, and disqualified and had to appeal, and I had my GoPro footage that helped me, get that appeal or that DQ overturned. It was more about like, man, this is a true test right now. Like, what do I really, where's my, like, what kind of character do I have? What am I going to do? Am I going to like try to fight and be like all like upset and just start spitting off whatever and just make it a bigger fire? Or, I thought about it as like, you know what, even if I unintentionally broke a rule, which obviously if I did, that's what it would have been. It would have been unintentional. I said, I don't deserve to win. And I went and made a social media Instagram post. I don't deserve to win. If I broke a rule and gained an advantage, like I said, unintentionally, I'm going 70 and a 55-mile-an-hour zone, and I just don't know it's 55 speed limit. Doesn't matter. It was unintentional, and I got somewhere quicker than somebody else who had to stay at 55, right? So if I did that, I said on social media, I was like, I don't want to win the tournament. I don't want to win AOI. Guillermo would deserve it. I think he was second in that tournament, and whoever would have won AOI, I don't know, but I was like, I don't want it if I gain an advantage. So I think hopefully, and I know a lot of people did say, they reached out to me and said, man, that was a great example of how to handle situations like this. Obviously, I was really freaking like upset, about the whole situation and just distraught over it. And rightfully, these guys are, I'm sure as well, or were, but it's how they go forward from it, now is what really is going to matter in the long run and the rest of their life. Because it came close to ruining fishing for me, even though I didn't like break a rule, didn't do anything wrong. I mean, I still like kind of almost ruined the love I had for fishing. I don't want that to happen to these guys or anyone in a tournament because of something like that. So Tim Isaac's right there. I see he pulled up. He got DQ'd at Santa Cooper from fishing 20 minutes before lines in. He obviously didn't mean to do it. He thought the lines in was a different time. I mean, lesson learned, and he's moved on from it and learned from it. And that's just the example I think these guys have. They have a chance to set that now and be positive. So, yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. Was that Pimcall Legacy Fishing?
Yeah,
Appreciate
he's
that.
Jared from our Ohio event.
Oh, yeah, Jared. Yeah. Kalinowski, I think. Yeah. Thanks for the awesome event, guys. Had the time of my life out there. Only had like 4 to 5 people in my area both days on such a big river. It felt good. Awesome, man. Yeah.
Dude, you'd be surprised how many people you can shove into an area on the Susquehanna. That's what I kept telling people. I was like, there could be 15 people and you might only see them a couple times.
Yeah. It's true. This right here, Elvis is saying Russ self-reported himself 1 year during a Hobie event because he was on a boat during official pre-fishing. So you got to self-report these things. And he got DQ when he was fishing a marina. He didn't know he wasn't supposed to fish because the sign, he's just fishing down the bank and the sign was up on a tree.
Oh yeah, I remember
He
that.
didn't even have his fish weren't even caught in that marina, or maybe if some were, like 1 or 2, he had a ton of fish that were not, and all of it got DQ'd, every bit of it. So lesson learned for sure, with things like that. So you gotta report yourself, turn yourself in. I'll tell you right now, a tournament director will be much more lenient and gracious with you if you turn yourself in and self-report. Let's say you were off the water at whatever. We had a rule on Thursday, you got to be off the water at 6:00. Dude, if someone called me and they said, man, I had a motor problem, I'm still floating down here, I can't get back by 6, Drew, I need to self-report this so it's off my chest. And if I do good and there's a polygraph, I can get off my chest. What do you want me to do? Is there a penalty? You want me to? And I could say, hey, you're gonna however many minutes late you are, how many minutes you're gonna have to wait to start on tournament day. Or I could have said, dude, because you self-reported it, it's 5-10 minutes. You're not fishing anymore. You're done fishing. I could say, you know what, you're good, man, because you were honest enough to do that. Don't worry about it. You're fine. You reported it. If you didn't report it and someone saw you out there and they took a picture or whatever, that's when I would have been like, you know what, you're gonna have to sit for like 2 hours before you fish on the next day. So self-reporting, always the best move, always. So appreciate you guys supporting the series again, and we'll see you at the broodstock. We're gonna just keep answering comments if we don't end this thing. So
Yeah.
Yeah, the fish mouths being closed is a big one. Most people don't understand how
Here,
strict
I'm gonna give you guys the juice. I'm gonna give you guys the juice on how to measure a smallmouth. If you cannot get that mouth closed, you need to make sure that the bottom fin is flat against its body. So like it can't be towards the mouth, it needs to be the opposite way. Because if that fin is towards the gill, like it's folded towards the gill, that mouth will never fully shut for whatever reason. It's like trying to like, some people can't do this, right? Or whatever. Like it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like it has to be flat against its body to get that mouth shut.
Yeah. If seeing Russ's name and Elvis talking about Russ is funny, because this is another thing to keep in mind. When you guys are out there and you have friends on the water and you're competitors, and I consider many of you guys friends. I know you personally as well. Obviously, in the tournament setting, I see you differently when we're ruling and judging. But you've got to do, by the rules of Bassmaster or Kayak Adventure Series or Team Kayak Series or whatever, like Native, you're supposed to report it. And you just have to understand that you can never be upset at anyone that's your friend for doing anything like that. Like I pull up to the ramp at 10 Killer. Or no, I called Steve. I had actually was late by 7 minutes, and I called Steve because I touched the bank of the park. I wasn't at the ramp, but I was at the public park that the ramp was at. And I thought, well, maybe this is good enough because I had like some issues, whatever, way upstream, and I just didn't make it back in time. So I said, hey Steve, I'm at the park. Am I good? I'm off the water at the park. And he's like, man, you gotta get back to the exact ramp. The ramp's like a half mile further down, around like the bend. He's like, yeah, you got to get back to the exact ramp. I'm sorry, Drew. And of course, I consider Steve a friend, but I knew he had to do what he had to do and just rule like according to the what he would do for anybody and everybody. And I had to accept that and say, Steve, I get it, man. That's I got to follow the rules. And if anything, he's probably going to be harder on me. That's just the way that if I'm friends with anyone in these tournaments, I kind of have to be almost like err on the side. If it's a 50-50 kind of judgment call, I got to err on the side of being a little bit more harsh to someone that I'm friends with. If I have to lean one way or the other, it's got to be that, just so no one could ever perceive favoritism. So it's almost hurt you to kind of know me more on a personal level. But I had to get to that ramp, and I got to the ramp, and I think I pulled up and I was like, oh, Russ. I was like, Russ was there, and he's like, dang it, Drew. And I'm like, I know. And he's like, because the day before I was like 3 minutes late. And I was like, I know, man. I'm like, 6 minutes, right? And he goes, because I talked to him before actually my kayak beached. I was like, I'm like 6 minutes late, right? Or whatever. And he's like, I beached my kayak. He's like, I just then when I was doing it, he's like 7, man. I was like, dang it. And he had to do that. I just, thought I'm right at the ramp, whatever. And I was like 6 minutes, but he was like 7. So I was like, I had to report 7, and it was technically 7. So I can't, he had to do that and make sure. So, anyway, I've had plenty of people that I consider friends. I know lots of people in this sport that are consider themselves best friends and close friends have had to report each other, and we don't have anyone else to do it but us on the water. So you guys got to keep doing that. And if you're not doing anything wrong, you got nothing to worry about. Even if it's something that somebody sees you doing and they're not sure and they report it just so the director can investigate it, don't be upset at them. Don't call them a tattle or whatever. They're just trying to do what we ask them to do. So don't it's fine. Because think about it. If you're not breaking a rule, and especially if you're filming, you're going to always have proof. If you're not breaking a rule, you got nothing to worry about ever. You got evidence. You have nothing to worry about. So keep that in mind, guys. And once we're off the water, we're all high-fiving, drinking beers, having fun, eating food. It's all fellowship and fun again at that point. You got to let it roll off your back. Whatever happens, you can't play defense in the sport. You cannot do it. So why be mad or upset at each other and have enemies? Let's just, we can always be friends off the water as well. This guy, they're trying to keep getting information from me, Michael, because side of the state we're trying to come back to.
Well, technically, he told you
where
we're going if you connect the identifier codes.
That's true. You could identify. No one knows this. That's a good point, Jake. A lot of people were first-time Kayak Adventure Series anglers at this event. If you don't know this, the identifier codes are Easter eggs for future events. That's what they are. Most of like 90% of the time, they're an Easter egg. So anyway, you can
So you
go
would
back
have
and
to look at what is it, bronze
yeah, you would
quest?
have to look at a couple identifiers to figure this one together from the previous event and this event. So let's leave it at that. So I got to get off here. I got a lot of stuff to do. But if you guys do, I know some people are messaging me. If you haven't contributed to that Bass U brunch breakfast, you can go on the website and there's a link to register or sign up now. It says click on that. You can change the donation amount to whatever you want. We suggest 25, but whatever. So please do that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We'll see you at Broodstock, guys. September 12th and 13th. It's going to be fun. So yeah, Elvis, we'll get back to Upper Mississippi at some point, man. We're plenty of good fisheries in Northwoods water for smallmouth to not move it around. So anyway, yeah, what were you just putting that up to?
Oh yeah, from
Sorry, Aaron Proppers. We'll end on this. Keystone Kayak Bass Series has an event this weekend on one of the eligible lakes for Broodstock 2
There
in
you
Franklin.
go.
So yeah, go fish that, win some money on that Keystone Kayak Bass Series. And JT's saying, all the negative aside, Kayak Adventure Series will continue to grow and get better every year. Keep inviting your friends to attend their first event and they will be hooked. So I do appreciate so many people that said that. They were blown away by everything we did there. And we work hard to hopefully, you know,
Probably too hard.
Probably too hard sometimes. Yeah, probably. So I
Man.
do. But that's in my nature. It's kind of like fishing. You know, I fish hard and then I run this event hard and do the best I can. So we're
I mean, the
anyway.
reality is like we lugged, not to make this stretch on any further, we lugged all this stuff across the country for this. All our own fishing gear, thinking we were gonna get to fish. And that's the biggest smallmouth I caught this weekend.
Yeah, I really didn't.
I could have caught that.
I didn't get on the water. I didn't get on the water at. We got on the water for a couple hours.
Yeah, we spent half of that just freaking navigating the shallow water.
Yeah, and just kind of exploring some stuff that was like So that's it.
So
all right. See you guys later. See you at Broodstock.
Yep.
Peace out.